Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Folks, think of the digital world as the salesperson working for you while you're doing other stuff. You put the right information out there, get it to the right people, and your phone will start ringing. But you need professionals like the team at Oak City Tech to do that for you. If you go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for. I know they'll be able to help you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, but we are stepping east a little bit to Fayetteville for our local small business success story. That is Tracy Huff. Couple things we're going to, well, we're going to talk to Tracy about a number of things. But in her chapter, she is the leadership coach, but she also owns Family Martial Arts Academy.
Yes, sir.
Tracy's Fayetteville chapter meets Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. They are online. So if you're in the Fayetteville area or want to meet some wild and experience other small business owners, please visit their chapter. Tracy, good to have you on the show. How are you?
Good to be here. I'm glad that you included wild. We do get a little crazy,
Yeah.
but we're like one big, crazy, happy family for sure.
Well, and you have to because when you meet each week, you start developing those relationships. And I
Mhm.
tell people my chapter is 60% production, 40% snark because you got to bring it and because you're going to get it. If you say something goofy or stupid in the meeting,
Yeah,
it's going to come back and haunt you. So you just may as well
yeah.
throw that first shot.
I'll have to ask our group this week what they think our percentages are. So I don't know. I don't know. We got some snark, but we got mostly a lot of hugs
Yeah.
and support. So like we're
Yeah.
a touchy feely group. So we're
We
so
are
excited
too. We
together.
are
Yeah,
too. And we missed that during COVID a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Um, but anyway, Tracy is also the mentor coordinator in her chapter, which is a wonderful thing to do. And it's also good to have a coach in a mentor coordinatorship role. The leaders, excuse me, let me mix everything here. The confidence coach.
Yes.
Boy, there's a lot of us that need that in different areas of our lives, aren't there?
That is true. That is definitely true. Uh,
Why do people come to you? Is there a common denominator?
yeah, I mean they're all wanting something better for themselves. So as parents bring in their kids to our martial arts school, they definitely want the discipline and the confidence. Bullying has actually gotten worse, and the one thing that we educate the parents on is bullying in the workplace counts too. So the things that we teach the kids and the things that we do, they can implement in the workplace. Simply same thing. So confidence and that protection is really what people come to us the most on the martial arts side. And for the coaching side, it's the same thing. They just don't know how to ask for it like that. Adults don't come to us with that clear of a request, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. They just know they have a problem. But it really always boils down to their confidence for
Yeah.
sure.
And in previous lives, I've managed people and, as I got older, I learned that asking for help is a sign of strength.
Yeah.
Now, I also remember coming out of college, you have no title, you have no standing in your business, and in walks a vice president. Anybody got any questions? You're like, nope, don't have a one because I'm not going to ask because they're going to think, why did we hire this guy? But as I've gotten older, I've found I ask way more questions, but I know more things and I feel better about things. And I don't know if people see that it's a sign of strength.
Um, I think it all depends on how you create the conversation, right? Whether they're going to be on the defensive or not. And as my method and my coaching method and my teaching method is asking questions to get an understanding of A, how they like to communicate, and B, how aware they are of what they're really asking, right? So I was in the military. I got out of high school and I was in the army. And I told my coach for the martial arts school, I told him between having to brief battalion commanders and company commanders when I was 19 and teaching 3-year-olds, there's not a room that can intimidate me, pretty much. Between those two things, there's not a room that can intimidate me.
Yeah.
But I again, like you said, when you're new, you don't know that.
Yeah.
But when you're around people who are leaders, you pick that up pretty quickly.
Yes, and I've by the way, we're gonna get to another topic, as I was looking at your bio, and when I saw you lived in Germany and Fort Campbell, Kentucky, I knew that meant one thing, so we'll get to that in a minute. Because my wife's an Air Force brat, so I've learned a lot about when you see certain destinations, you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I know what that means."
Yeah.
One of the things I've been blessed with some really good bosses,
Mm.
and I early on in my professional career, I would hear bosses say, "Hey, my door's always open." Well, it's like, dude, I'm 22. I'm not gonna walk in there and say anything. But what I found the good bosses, and it's dawned on me the first time I had a good boss that did this, is she came around, popped in the office, "Hey, Mike, what's going on? What are you working on? What can I help you with?" I'm like,
Mhm.
"Wow,
Yeah.
that was powerful." First time I saw that.
I mean, my one of my part of learning that lesson really quickly when I was in the army is I had a great boss who was a master sergeant Worth, and he taught me if you can't get it done between 8 and 4:30, then you're doing something wrong. So he was actually like my first productivity coach, and him understanding that I could be quick and succinct and efficient, and I could do it within that time frame was like an 18, 19-year-old, you just assumed everything had to take as long as it had to take. And so that was like one of the first ways that my thinking began to be changed about how I worked. And he also showed me that you can reward the person based on their actions. So I was only an E4, which is probably, if we use it in civilian terms, I was like not even a junior manager in an office full of executives. And he would give me the responsibility that he knew I could handle, which showed me how to build esteem in other people. You give them what they can do and show them how to be successful doing it, and their confidence is going to go out the roof, which is why mine did when he had me briefing battalion commanders and first sergeants at 19 with like no rank whatsoever. But I was good at my job and I knew what I was doing, and I knew this how to stand in that early on.
The first time he told you you were gonna do a briefing, obviously, you knew the content.
Right.
Okay. What was your thought process? What did you do to get ready for that, and how did that first one go?
Well, I mean, the first thought was like, "You want me to brief who with what? You could do it here. I wrote it all down. Here, I got a nice power. I got a presentation done for you. You could do it. Sorry, you could do it." So that was my first reaction. Like, why do you want me to do it? Why do you need me to stand up here and tell this information? Because it's just statistics. And his answer was just because I want you to do it. And um, it it went fine. I was nervous. It was one of the first times in my military career, after basic training, where you learn to push through the fear. You learn to push through that thing that's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then you get up there and you do what you do, and they ask questions that I could answer. And then you leave the briefing going, huh, I did a good job. He was right to ask me to do that.
But you're right, though, and when I do new member training for BNI
Mhm.
up here, and I always tell people, there are a lot of good business applications to your chapter and chapter applications to your business, and
Mhm.
one of those is exactly what your boss did. It's the training to get you to the point of success as quick as he can, and it's
Yeah.
just like bringing a new member to the chapter, everybody helping them, so all of a sudden they're making money the first month. It's like just like you said, "Oh, I got this. I
Yeah.
can move on," but putting people in a position to succeed is is not an easy thing to do because when you and him were sitting in the room, he knew the room. He read the room real well, knowing you could do it.
Mhm.
And the worst thing he could have done was put you up there and you didn't know what you were doing or didn't want to be there. So how many other briefings did you do after that?
Oh, I did them all as
Okay.
I did them all for 2 years while I was in that stationed at Fort Campbell. And then they progressed to have me do the evening briefings. And then when they pull in all the other company commanders and battalion commanders for like a brigade meeting, they would have me do their presentation. So it just kind of expanded from there, from them doing it. One night they wanted me to, like, they insisted upon me being at this briefing. And I had my older son James at the time. And I was like, I am the only single mother in this office. Julie is completely competent. She can read the slides. She can hit the button. I don't know why I have to be there. I got to pay extra. I was going off. And they're like, specialist, you will be there. And I was like, oh, I was so angry. I walk in there so angry. And the reason they wanted me there is because they wanted to present me an award for all my service in front of all the
Oh,
commanders. How dumb
nice.
did I feel?
Yeah. And when you left the room, like, you will be there and you left the room, they're dying laughing,
Oh,
aren't
I
they?
know. And I was so angry. Like, I really don't, I got angrier then than I do now, right? Because, of course, age and wisdom and all
Yeah.
that. But I was just so mad because I was also like the one they always sent on the field problems. And they kept treating this other person, Julie, like she wasn't competent just because she was quiet.
Yeah.
But she didn't always stand up for herself either. But yeah, I felt so stupid when they did that. And then I was like, oh man, I got to apologize now. No, and they specifically wanted to do it, I think, in that room because some of the company commanders and the first sergeants had been complaining about me giving favoritism, which they knew that I didn't do. Um, so, because I've been yelled at by a few, but I stood my ground because I knew it wasn't true. But
Are
yeah, that was probably the funniest thing. But yeah, it just grew after that. And your confidence grows. And then like the one thing I love about my military service, besides being able to serve my country, was that it taught me so many things like that in a very real way. Viscerally, you learn in the moment. It's a pass fail kind of thing. There is no cushion. And so usually when you're in those environments, you succeed. We see it all the time at the karate school. I see it all the time with my customer, even with my coaching clients. When you're put into that crucible, it's the way our brains are made to work. It's the way our bodies are made to work. Like when we have it, we figure it out. Normally our brains get in the way and tell us all the reasons why we can't do something. But if we have to, we'll do it
yeah.
every time, which is what's so amazing about, coaching and why I love it so
Yeah.
much. But yeah, that was my first like training ground with that, air assault school, you must go. Okay. Jump out of a helicopter, you must do it. Okay. Every single situation they ever put me in, I didn't fail.
Are you it sounded like my golf game early on. I was fine. The swing was fine until I started thinking about it, get my head in the way. It's like, and then I got my head out of the way, started playing better. So,
Yeah, yeah.
can you tell us what some of the briefings were about?
Oh, it was just boring, normal stuff. My job there was to just make sure the to get them funded for schools that they wanted to go to. Um, battalion readiness, our training numbers, field problem, statistics, things like that. It was like blah blah, but in any organization, things that you need to know,
Mhm.
because we had a lot of soldiers that wanted at Fort Campbell is known for being air assault. And if those of you who don't know what air assault is, it's jumping out of a helicopter on a rope. So all the time you see those cool movies where they're like rappelling out of a helicopter, that's air assault school. But a lot of the guys wanted at Fort Campbell wanted to be airborne. They wanted to jump out of planes. So my job was to get them tapped into the schools that they wanted to do to further their careers. And so that's what I got to manage as an E4, as a specialist. So
Very cool.
yeah.
What skills from those days with how you were managed, what you learned about you, transferred to being a mom and a parent?
Oh yeah, they would definitely say they transferred. I'm kind of, the movie Training Day really changed my parenting style. Do you remember that movie with Denzel
Vaguely.
Washington?
Yep.
His line would, "You want to go to jail, you want to go home." Like once I saw that, I'm like, I like that philosophy. I like that philosophy. So from the military, it was just, really learning about having standards
Mhm.
and setting standards for yourself and then not accepting anything less. So as a parent and as a family, my husband's military as well, retired military, we set family standards. Like this is how the Huffs do it,
Mm.
period.
Yep.
And this is what you will do. And so being able to translate that, but the want to go to jail, want to go home, that was
Yeah.
like, a lot of parents argue with their kids. I didn't argue.
Yeah. No.
I said, you have this option or this option. There is no C or D. And if you don't want any of those, then we don't have to talk about it anymore.
Mhm.
I'm okay with that. And that kind of where it really changed. And this is still philosophy. That's why when I teach 3-year-olds in the martial arts school, and my peers are like, "How do you teach 3-year-olds?" I just say, "We're not doing that."
Yeah. Yeah.
I say, "We're not going to do that. We're going to do this or this." And I just change how I talk to them, and their brain clicks and they choose one.
Yeah. And I have found through our kids, I still call them kids, kids and boys. We have 2 boys. They're 35 and 31.
Uh-huh.
And in all my years of parenting and then watching other parents is kids, I'm a firm believer of this. I can't support it, with data and stuff like that. But from what I've seen, kids love boundaries. because
Yeah.
they understand what's expected. But I've always thought it's like, wow, they care about me because I want to make sure that, I'm safe, I'm healthy, things are good. So I've been a huge fan of just setting boundaries.
Yeah, and it also gives you a opportunity to communicate with them when they bump up against that boundary,
Yep.
because it creates a conversation you wouldn't have with your child about whatever it is that why they're creating that boundary, why they feel the need to buck up against that boundary. I mean, one of James, my older son James, he's 30 as well, and he would always say, "I feel like you're a cop." I'm like, okay, that's what my love looks like to you.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But it would give us the reason for him to like express those feelings about it. And then I could tell him
Mm.
why it was in place and give him some context for it. Whether he agreed with it or not, at least he could get some context for it. So I think the boundaries create those things
Yeah.
and the conversations that we don't get to have if we don't do those things.
And I'm with you. The older I get, and when I'm working with clients, I just tell them, like, look at me as the 4-year-old, grandchild in the room. Why is my favorite question because
Yeah.
once we answer that,
Mhm.
things speed up.
Yeah. And it forces you to have a reason.
Mhm.
And it forces you to really analyze, like, is this that important? Is this a line or is this something that can be flexible? Like, is this something I'm saying just because I don't want to deal with them right now? So it makes you have to be more self-aware, which is why most parents avoid it because hey, they're exhausted
Yep.
and they
Oh, yeah.
just don't want to make another decision or don't want to answer another question. But we can tell them, and this is what I usually say is I can tell you 15 years down the road, it's worth it.
Mhm.
That extra struggle, that extra anxiety, that extra tension is worth it because then you get to enjoy them as adults and then you get to be proud of them with the lives that they create. But that's hard to see that when you're way back there in the moment and all you can
Oh, yeah.
think about is, "Ah."
And I know with some of your coaching clients you work with, a lot of things come down to, I can't do it or don't want to do it.
Or I've failed in the past,
Yep.
so why would now be any different?
Yep.
Not giving themselves any credit for the skills and the lessons and the things that they've learned and how they've grown,
Yeah.
or their ability to learn things more quickly, right? Sometimes it's being afraid to step into that. And then you add on how they are on social media and what people will think and all of that. And
Oh,
it's like a whole nother
jeez.
thing. But usually it's based on something that or like an old thing that we're judging ourselves on and not really analyzing A, what we've learned, B, the skills that are unique and innate to us that we
Mhm.
don't even count,
Yep. Yeah.
right? And then and implementing those in a new way. So yeah, that's usually what it is.
Family Martial Arts Academy. You're coming on, hang on a second, let me do some quick math. You're coming on 14 years next month. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How, when, why did that come about? And would love to know what those first conversations were like.
So that was one of those hard life lessons there. So I started that for a friend of mine who was an instructor. At that time, I was just a student. I'd only been training for a few years, and I had an instructor that really wanted to open his own school. So I said, "Well, look, I was doing computer network support at the time. I said, look, I can back you into getting your own school, and then I can train on days." We were doing it at a rec center at the time, so I could only either Tuesday or Thursday, and if I missed those days, I couldn't train that week. So I actually backed him in the school and then so I could train more and get my training in. And he he didn't want to put into the business, I guess is how I would say it. And he didn't understand that, when you're first in business, you got to put into the business. And I actually broke my toe and fractured my foot getting ready for my first degree black belt test.
Ooh.
And while I was gone, some things had happened at the school, and I just didn't agree with some things that he had done ethically and some things that he had told some parents. And so I was going to walk away. And that's when he told me he couldn't take on the responsibility of the school. And then he kind of left me holding the bag for the school right when I first got my first degree black belt. So I'm not a quitter, right? All the things the military taught me. And I kept the school and had one student when he left, and I built it from there. So that's kind of how it came about. It was never my intention to be an owner or a chief instructor of a school. I just wanted to train more than 2 days a week. That was all I wanted. I just wanted to train more than Tuesday and Thursday. But I tell my students all the time that although being a martial arts school owner and instructor was never on a goal list that I ever wrote down, it is the best thing that could have happened to me. And so that when they're in the middle of things that are all wrong and everything's bad, and the students we had left, and people were saying all these things, and he was telling people lies, and all of those things that were happening, the best thing that could have happened to me was created out of that. And to hold on to those and see, ask how questions instead of why questions. How can this be good? How can I make this work? How can I create something from this? Because either way, I was paying for that internet, I
Yeah.
was paying for that rent, I was paying for those things anyway. So I might as well make something out of it. So that's how it was born. And I created and morphed it from there to now where it is now. And we get to create some really amazing things for our students and for my instructors. And I'm getting to teach them the joys of being an instructor and a coach, and how they can have that impact on somebody's lives just for doing what we said, holding them accountable to that higher version of themselves, and holding them accountable to the simple rules, talking when someone else is talking, raise your hand if you have something to say. Everyone's voice is important. Everyone can be a leader. Like all of those things that we teach in our camps, in the school, through our training, like they get the joy of that to see how students grow. So that's I gave birth to it that way, and it's just been amazing.
Cool. When you have a student enroll at the academy and they're dealing with confidence issues or bullying issues or something like that, how can you tell when they've come out of their shell and they're kind of like, okay, I think I can deal with this now?
Yeah, so it's different for everyone, right? It just depends on that personality. So usually for the students that are extroverts, the way that we can really tell is the negative self-talk stops. It's not all the reasons why they can't do something. It's I can do this. That's not hard enough, Master Huff, or can we do it? Can we do this? Or can I try this? And then they start asking to do things that are harder. For the quiet ones, it's they get louder, they get more vocal, and they try things without asking. They just do it. When I always set the we set the drills up where I tell them I want you to go so hard that you might fail. Today is about failing. I want you to go so hard that failure is an option, that you could totally fall on your face. And every time I do that, no one fails. Right. And the first time I do that to a student, they're like,
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you want me to do what? But when they do it, it's just a few of those, and then they're asking me to do it, or they're giving me ideas on how to do it for them, which is what's amazing. They're like, Master, can we try blah, 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 blah? And I'm like, yeah, we could totally try that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Yeah. So that's how you can see they just it's like they open up just like a flower. And then you start to see them. And then for the next level for some of those is then they start volunteering to like lead a drill, or we do a student creed every day. They start volunteering to lead the students in the student creed, or they want to assist in classes, or they want to help out at our summer camp. So then they just start to blossom from there. It's a amazing thing to watch.
You must have had a number of parents just come to you in tears, thanking you and hugging you for the work you do for their kids.
Yeah, yeah, we do. We do. We do. And that's where I'm a big fat weepy master pants then, I'm just like Master Weepy, because we get to do that. And being in a military town, we don't always get them for a long time.
Mhm.
Like we have some of our students that are leaving now, we've only had for like 6 months, or 8 months, and now they're leaving and going to another duty station. And so, yeah, we do get that a lot. And then I have to let them go, and then I get scared. I'm
Yeah.
like, they better not go to another martial arts school, and they better not destroy all the work that I've done,
If
and
I
so
find out,
that's right. I'm gonna get on phone. But I told the students now, like, you don't, if you need me, if you need us, we're a Zoom call away.
yeah.
Have your mom, we'll Zoom you into class. So you could get a little of us. And
Oh,
like, so now that's how we can use technology for us. And we have, I don't think I have it here. I had some wooden bookmarks created from my book, and we use the essential oils. I'm teaching them how to brain hack themselves. And so like, I'm going to gift them that So then when they're gone and they need to remember how amazing they are, they can take that bookmark and they can take that oil and they can remember that if they're not being amazing right now, they are amazing. So that's kind of a way we're gonna send them off without us. But
Very
yeah,
nice. Now,
yeah.
how many days a week are you there, and what is the family's role in this business?
So we're there 5 days a week, and then we do events and stuff on Saturdays. So we're there every from like four to 8:30, Monday through Friday. Well, Fridays we start a little bit later, but we're usually there. And then my older son James has been working with me since June of last year. So he's been working with me in the school, kind of taking on helping me with the sales and the back end and systematizing, doing some processes. And he's taken on, we're developing a program with my instructor, a combatives program that's well rounded. So it has stand fighting, ground fighting, weapons fighting.
Wow.
Um, and they're developing that with him and implementing that. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Were you the, badass mom in the neighborhood? Because you were at some point now, when all the kids were after all the kids were born, what level black belt were you?
I didn't start training until I was 34.
Oh,
So my kids were in junior high and high school when I started.
okay,
So mainly more when they were in college.
okay,
It
nice.
took me a little bit longer to get my black belt because I never started training to become a black belt. I started training because my husband was a contractor in Iraq. I was running my computer networking business and I was working 14 hours a day, maintaining the kids in the house by myself. And I really needed to hit something. And so I was taking my younger son, Steven, to karate because he was having trouble with peer pressure. And I was sitting there just so stressed and so tense and just so. And my instructor now was the one that ran the school. And he's like, why don't you try it? I was like, okay, loved it. I fell in love with it because it got relieved that stress. But it also was the one place that I wasn't comfortable. It was the one
Oh,
place that pushed me to grow in different ways than I had before. We get older and we get confident in our positions, confident in our skills. We're doing work. I'm running my company. I'm confident in most of that. I'm not challenged on a personal level a lot, maybe on a technical level with new technology.
mhm,
But that was the one place they told me to do something. I was like, you want me to do what? You want me to jump up in the air and then do what? Are you
mhm.
crazy? Like, do you know how old I am? Like what? So like that was the first time I was like, wow, I didn't even realize I had these limiting self-beliefs about myself. And so that was the addiction part for me of martial arts. Like even now, I'm a fourth degree black belt,
Mhm.
but even now I'm still pushed on a personal level because the more that I grow my school, the more I have to grow. I always tell my instructors, we all get to grow. You get to grow. I get to grow. We all get to grow. And it's uncomfortable and it's awkward and it's messy. But the more students we get, the more instructors I need, the more instructors I have to train, the more I have to grow as a trainer, the more I have to grow as a marketing person, the more I have to grow as a operations person. So that's what's addicted me to martial arts. And then the fact that I can then like kick people's butt, that's
Yeah,
just a bonus,
there you go.
That's just me like them not expecting it and then boom. So
Well, one of the couple of things you and I share are May birthdays, and congratulations on
yeah.
your 29th birthday again.
Yes, sir. Always.
I on the 30th, I will be celebrating the 21st anniversary of my 40th birthday
There you
again,
go.
so I'm good with that. But the other thing we share is, grandkids, and I
Love
have one, and one is spectacular, so more than one has gotta be they gotta come up with another word, but you have 2 grandkids. A, is this not the coolest club in the world? And
love
B, are
it.
they involved in martial arts?
One is, my
Okay.
younger grandson is, and he is a beast. He is a beast. Like we make him do 3 classes because he comes in and he does one class and then he'll do another. And then we have one that I ask him to actually come in as an example for, and he gets to do that. So um yeah. So the older one, my older grandson, Aiden, he doesn't he I think he wants to. I think he doesn't want his dad to watch him do it, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
But my younger grandson, he's hanging out with us all the time. And even in our black belt class, I have a young lady, um, Lydia's 11, I think. Yeah, 10, 11. And we were practicing this throw, and everyone else was like teenage boys. They were a lot taller than her. And so as she was learning it, I was like, Nikolai, go let Lydia throw you. He's like, okay. Walks out there, puts his hands out, like, okay, throw me, I'm okay. So it's just been great watching him grow and wanting to learn more there, and being such a good example, because he doesn't have a problem, and he's in class with me, showing me the respect of the instructor. He's like, has the best protocol, has the best yes ma'ams, has the
Yeah.
best, we did have one test where he just assumed that I was going to like give him his belt, and he learned the hard way that I don't do that, that you earn your belt here.
Good.
And after that, though, we haven't had a problem. He knew I have to get this done. I'm doing this. Mimi, can we practice? So that's been a true
Nice.
pleasure.
And what color belt is he at that age?
He's like at the end of our beginner belt. So he's on like our orange advanced belt. So he's at the end of that. So he's going to test up to be like the first step in our intermediate level when we test in the beginning of July.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's a good use for energy too, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. We structure the classes. I love it when the kids are like, oh my gosh, I'm sweating. Like, or I'm like, good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. That's a great thing. Yeah. We try and keep them going and keep them in. And they're the oldest young people you've ever met. Yeah, oldest people you've ever met. Like my teenage boys are like, oh, so tired, Master. Like, what'd you do? I went to school. And oh, it's just school. School's really hard today. It's like, what did you do? I just went to class. Like, it's just like, oh, my back. Oh, my leg. I said, I think you guys just say those things to make me feel better. Oh, my knee. Oh, my shoulder. Like
Yeah.
me and my assistant instructor, Trina G, she's in her 60s. She's retired from the Army as well. And we look at them and think, are they gonna make it? Like, are
Yeah.
they gonna make it? Because they're 15, like they're 17. What in the world?
They got no clue what real pain feels
Yeah,
like
no,
either.
like
Yeah.
when one of the students was like, Master Huff, my knees hurt. I'm like, really? I said, who else knees hurting? We all raised our hand. I said, let's put our black belt line on and do it anyway.
Yeah.
We just got 30 minutes. Let's do it. So it's just kind of trying to teach them about that it does make me laugh a lot.
One of my favorite questions on the show for married couples is, how did you and John meet? And do you both tell the story the same way?
He always lets me tell it because I met him when I got to Germany. I always tell the same story. And he's like, I can't believe you put that in your book. I said, why? This is what happened. He seduced me, impregnated me, and forced me to marry him. And that's how it happened. Because I was 18. I met him in Germany. He was at my first duty station. And he literally was one of the first people I met when I came in, because he was on duty when I got into the company. And he hates that I say it that way, but
Yeah,
I tell him it's true. I've
I can
witnessed it.
see that.
Oh, you have witnesses. But he doesn't, he just says, that's not true. I said, how'd it happen?
Yeah.
He's got nothing. He's got
Yeah.
nothing. Got nothing.
So let's go to literally the first time you saw him. Where and what did you think? Oh, hey.
So when I first saw him, he was on duty, and I had a friend of mine that I had gone to training with that was also stationed in the area, and he came to pick me up so we could go to lunch. And when I saw him, he was like, "You are never going to believe what that sergeant said." I'm like, "What did that sergeant say?" He said, "That sergeant said you had a nice butt." I said, "Well, I do have a nice butt." It's like, Derek, what's your problem? And he's like, I can't believe. I'm like, Derek, it's not the first time someone's going to say it. It's not the last. Let's just go get lunch. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't think anything of it. And that's another story he denies to
Yeah.
this day.
Oh,
My
yeah.
friend Christine was there, and she backs it up. She said that did happen. So I didn't really notice at the time, but I was determined. I joined the military to pay for college, so I wasn't even looking.
Yeah.
I was just to do my time, do my job, get my money for school so I could do my 4 years and get out and pay and go to college.
Yep.
That was my plan. That was what I was focused on. And he changed all those plans.
Well, that's the beauty of not looking, and all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere, and you're like,
It
wow.
totally did. And we're like 30 years later.
Yeah. Where was
Right?
the first date?
The first date was a dinner at a German restaurant because we were in Ansbach, Germany.
Yeah.
And he took me out for dinner. And I actually shared with him my reservations because he's 13 years older than I am.
Okay.
So again, I was 18 years old, and people had been telling me some things. And so I just, I just said, look, I'm not sure, you're older than me. You could be lying to me. I don't know this. I don't do a lot. I didn't do a lot. I didn't date when I was at home. My family was very religious. We had Bible study at 8 o'clock every night. I didn't go on dates. If I went out with my friends, I had to be home by 7:45.
Ooh,
Who wants to do that in high school?
man.
Nobody. So I just chose to stay home. So I didn't have a lot of dating experience. And the one thing that impressed me about him was after our very first date, he came back down to my room and showed me like documented proof that he was not a married man. So
How do you do that?
with his papers, his
Oh,
separation.
the military papers. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, he
Okay,
actually had his separation papers because other than that, I told him I will believe you. I will choose to believe you
yeah,
because I'm going to follow my instinct. But he didn't. That wasn't good enough for him, and that kind of showed me who he was as a person.
okay,
Yeah, that kind of showed me
nice.
who he was as a person, and that was how our first date ended.
My wife is an Air Force brat, and
Mhm.
so she graduated high school in Heidelberg. Her dad
Okay.
was a weather wing commander, retired a full colonel.
Uh-huh.
They love Germany,
I did too.
and now our niece is over there. Her husband is in
Nice.
the army right now. I believe he's in Slovakia, but I'm not supposed to say anything. And they love Germany, and this is my wife's sister's daughter.
Mhm.
So my sister-in-law is like, "Ooh, uh, beer fest.
Yeah.
We need to go visit Caitlin there." So
Yeah. We loved it so much that we were over there when they were downsizing the bases. And
yeah,
so we were trying to find a base for us to stay because I really liked it over there. I liked the pace. I had some German friends, we really liked it, but we could not make that happen. So
yeah. Did you guys get a chance to go sightseeing? Like, it takes 30 I feel like it takes 30 minutes to cross the border into Austria.
yeah,
Um,
so we had a trip planned to Austria for Christmas. Like I had contacted a travel agent and a few of us couples were going to go up there. We're going to cut down our own Christmas tree, make our own dinner, and then Desert Storm happened.
uh,
And then I was going to go scuba diving and then I couldn't because I was pregnant.
which you
So
blame on John in the book. Yes,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, because he seduced me and impregnated me and then forced me to marry him.
He owes you a scuba diving lesson, doesn't he?
He does. And so, but we did get to go to Spain and spend some time. But
Good.
yeah, it is a great. We really wanted to stay so that we could take
Mhm.
more advantage of those
Yeah.
things.
I can see the title of your next book, "You Owe Me a Scuba Diving Lesson."
Like, yeah, he definitely
And
does.
he's like, "Wait, what?"
I know he probably forgot all about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I almost forgot all about that. Me and my friend Lenny were gonna go.
Yeah. I like the fact that you're nowhere near forgetting about that now.
No, mm-mm. No, you've been together for a really
Oh, yeah.
long
Yep.
time.
What was the best thing about going to Lincoln Way Central High School?
I met my best friend Jenny Miles there. We both had moved into the school system after our freshman year, and we had to take a freshman history class. And that is how I met her. And we are friends to this day, even though I graduated and went to basic training right after that. But the best part of being at Lincoln Way was meeting my friend Jenny.
And
Yeah,
where is she today, and what is she doing?
she still lives where we grew up. She lives in Orland Park, Illinois. But I always say Jenny knows me 1 year longer than my husband,
Yeah.
like 1 year longer than
Yeah.
my husband. So yeah, that was the best part of going to that school because
Alright.
now I got to meet her and she's been with me throughout everything that I've gone through.
Cool.
Yeah,
Every
everything that I've gone
everybody
through.
needs that friend. What kind of conversation was that like with your folks about going into the Army?
I was the first one of my siblings, so I had a brother and a sister ahead of me, and then I have two sisters beneath me. I was the first one that wanted to go to college. And so they didn't know anything about the process. So my dad was adamant that if he was going to help me pay for college, I had to go for business. And that was the only degree I could go for. And that's not what I wanted to do at the time. I wanted to go into fashion. I want to be a buyer in fashion. That's what I really like. I like to make things. I like to create things, but I just wanted to be a buyer and be around those things. And he adamantly refused. And my teacher at the time, who was my one class that I had that I got to do that, we sewed and made crafts and did, we did fashion shows and stuff. She told me you should take the ASVAB and see what you get. because it'll give you some direction and you might find another way. And so when my dad was adamant about not helping me, I said, well, I'm going to go this way because I'm going to college and I'll pay for it myself. And I found a way to do it. And so I didn't really, I guess that was my first like stepping on a line and saying, I'm going to do this.
And what is your degree from at Fayetteville State?
I have a bachelor's in business. Go figure. Go figure, right? Because I come out of the army and
Yep.
I have a son. So fashion, not really on the agenda.
Yeah.
My initial plan was to go back to Illinois to go for school because I could have gone for free and I could have gone to the University of Illinois. Not on the agenda.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's in business.
Did your dad chuckle when you called him and said, "I'm gonna major in business"?
Well, my father disowned me when I got pregnant with my son.
Huh?
So I still have not spoken
Sorry
to
to
him.
hear that.
Yeah, I have not spoken to him. And James will be 31 soon. And so it's been a long
Yeah.
time.
And you have 3 boys?
I have 2
2
boys,
boys.
2 grandsons.
Who
I have a
take
stepson.
okay. Who
Yeah.
takes after mom? Who takes after dad?
My older son, James, takes after his dad. He's very quiet, doesn't say much. And my younger son definitely takes after his mother. Yeah, he's very outgoing and extroverted and very loud, like me. Yeah. So you're gonna know that we're in the room. And then my husband and my older son James, they're gonna be quiet, watching everything you do. My older grandson is like his dad and his grandpa. He's not doesn't say much, but he hears everything.
Yeah.
He hears
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
learned that about, watching Oliver, my grandson,
Yeah.
and you forget that because it's been so long since you've had a year and a half or a 2-year-old or a
Yeah.
5-year-old in the house. It's like, y'all might wanna talk about that in another room,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, they're listening. They say my younger grandson, he can repeat conversations verbatim. It's like he recorded them. It's like, and then she said, and then so and so said, and then so and so said, and then this person said. I'm like, okay, all right, note to self. Let's not talk around Nikolai. No.
Uh, I do like that name. Do both of the grandkids belong to the same son?
Yes.
Cool.
Mhm.
Alright.
For now, knock on wood.
There you go.
Knock on wood.
I'm
Yeah.
not allowed to I have another son that just got married about a month ago, and I'm not allowed to ask.
Yeah.
But
Want
on or
to.
about August 16th, Oliver will be having a baby sister, and so that'll
Oh,
give us 2.
yeah.
He's very excited. It's his baby. He tells his mom, "It's my
Yeah.
baby."
Yeah.
And his mom bought him a pack of 4 toothbrushes,
Okay.
about a week ago, and he pulled them out and said, "These 2 are for me and these 2 are for my sister." Oh,
Oh,
dude, yeah,
sweet.
yeah,
Record that for later. You remember when you used to want to share with her?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny watch that. So how did you become Mimi?
Well, I decided I was too young to be grandma
Yeah,
or Mima or anything like that. And I had someone tell me, like, they're gonna call you what they want. I said, well, if they would like for me to answer, they will call me Mimi.
yeah,
Okay.
that
And the
worked.
first time James called me, not James, Aiden called me Mimi, I didn't hear it. And then he had to say it like 4 times. And I was like, oh my God, you just called me Mimi. And I ran over there and he was like, oh my God, like I'm
Yeah,
never gonna do that again. I scared the Jesus out of him. But yeah, so that's what I told him I wanted to be called.
nice,
So yeah, that's
nice.
how we did.
And what does John go by?
Papa.
Okay,
Yeah, he goes
nice.
with Papa.
Alright, and they get different things from each of you,
Yeah,
right?
Papa's the soft one though.
Oh,
Papa's
it
the
always
soft one.
is,
And
yeah,
if we have a granddaughter,
yeah.
I always tell everyone if we have a granddaughter, I might be divorced because he's gonna give that little girl anything that oh, it's
Oh, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh
And
no,
my
don't tell me.
friends a lot of my friends here, especially in BNI, they even ask me about Oliver. Like, "Hey,
Oh,
how's"
do
so
they?
and which is good because he ranks here, and like I told you earlier before we came on the air, our youngest son, I told him he's like Prince Harry. He just keeps
Yeah.
moving down the list with every grandkid I get. Pretty soon, it's like, "Cameron
Yeah,
who?"
yeah, like, "Who are you?" Like,
Yeah.
just drop the babies
Eh,
off. Go,
I
go.
know. And so they'll always ask, how he's doing and everything, and once they found out that we're gonna have a granddaughter, not my daughter-in-law having a daughter, I'm
Yeah.
having a granddaughter is how I tell everybody, right? And I don't really care what people think. And I told it like, "Oh, she's gonna have you wrapped around her finger." I said, "Dang right." I said, "When she gets old enough, she can paint my fingernails whatever color she wants." I go to a meeting and say, "Look, folks, this is how much fun I'm having in life."
Yeah,
Absolutely. Got
yeah,
no
because
problem with that.
The grandsons are going to be like, who is that? Because
Yeah.
these are always hard on them.
Yeah.
But he's soft with them too.
Oh, yeah.
Went and bought like a brand new TV to put in the room that they stay in when they're with us because Aiden wasn't sharing the TV. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? He literally in one weekend went to the store 3 times and came back with like big purchases for the grandkids. Bought his wife nada,
Nothing.
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 I was like, so I don't even get like a blouse or something out of
Yeah.
this? Like
Yeah.
nothing, nothing. He was like, oh, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So a granddaughter, oh, I don't know.
Oh, I can't wait. I
A
can't wait.
granddaughter, I'm gonna woo, it's gonna be a different thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He'll be done. He'll be buying her TVs when she's 2 months
Oh,
old, right?
yeah, especially hope he'll probably be retired.
Yeah.
Be retired by the time it happens. He'll have nothing but time
Yeah.
to do, and they always tease him saying he's gonna pick him up from school.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. I
And
love
he
you.
would totally love that.
Oh, I'm there. Before we go, give the parents watching and listening one tip to help their kids with confidence.
The tip I would give him is let them fail.
Yeah.
Right? I would say let them fail because that's where you learn the most about what you can or cannot do.
Yeah.
Right? Failure is always part of success. Anybody been in business know failure is part of success. You have to give them the skill of recovering from that so that they can continue to push themselves.
Yeah.
If you don't, they're never going to build that resiliency that they need and that confidence that they can get through something like that. So that would be the biggest one that I see the most is parents don't allow them to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, allow them to fail with a cushion, but they still have to fail.
And most of my analogies working with clients and in BNI are sports related. And tough to tell about people when they're winning because that's easy, but you learn a lot about people when they start losing. And I've
Oh,
been a firm believer for years. I coach my boys in Little League baseball and basketball. That you got to teach them how to lose first, and then
absolutely. And
they'll
I
be a
was,
good winner, and then they'll learn
yeah,
something.
then they'll know. And that was like one of my, someone I admire as a coach is John Wooden, UCLA basketball coach. And I was talking to in our leadership program on Saturday. I was like, the reason that I admire him so is because he didn't measure the team's success based on the wins or losses. He measured the team's success based on their execution of what they were supposed to do. So they could have won a game, but in his book, they lost. And so practices were harder
Mm.
because they didn't execute the way they were supposed to. Because that's the most important part. It goes back to the personal standards.
Yeah.
Is if you know you're capable of this, then this is what you always require.
Yep.
Regardless of what everyone else says.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I can work with effort. I
Hmm.
can work with effort, but if you
Right.
don't if you don't care, we got problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would definitely be the one thing is to give them the gift
Yep.
of learning that about themselves.
Very cool. Folks, if you were in the Fayetteville area, if you need the confidence coach, not a confidence coach, but
The
the confidence coach, or the Family Martial Arts Academy, we've been putting Tracy's number up on the screen here. You can get in touch with her that way. Tracy, wonderful to meet you.
Nice to meet
Best
you.
of luck for the rest of the year for your business, your family, and your chapter.
Good skills.
Yep,
Good luck.
I hear
Good.
you. And if Tracy, if you'll hang on for a second, okay, and we will see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.